So, we are on Matthew chapter 24. 24, and we'll start at verse 37. But as in the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right? The flood had been foretold for a long, long time. Really since Methuselah's birth, right? Methuselah means when he is dead, it shall be sent. And God gave them He gave them a timeline, 120 years, right? So they knew it was coming, right? But they didn't believe the preaching of Noah. And so when the end came, how many people were saved? 8, right? 8 souls in all. Noah and his wife, their 3 sons, and their 3 wives, right? And I think too, that's something we can probably take from this is that the Bible talks about a great falling away at the end, and I wouldn't be surprised if the church is significantly smaller when the end does come. Just because, So, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right? People are going to be living their lives. They're going to be thinking that, well, everything's going to stay the same, nothing's going to change, and then it does. Right? This is true about the last day, but it's also true about our own lives, right? A lot of times, we think things are gonna continue the way that they've always continued. But all we need to do is look at some of our own congregation members who are very ill and next to death, to know that the end can come a lot sooner than we think it might come, right? Which is why Jesus says time and time again, watch, right? Be vigilant, be prepared, right? Because you don't know the day or the hour. So, the flood swept them away. And that is very, very important because it interprets what comes next. These verses that come next have been misinterpreted by many, many people. And they use this to try and prove that there's going to be some sort of a rapture. That Christians are going to be snatched away to heaven before the years of tribulation. So, starting at verse 40. Then shall 2 be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill. The one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. So, people have often taken this to mean that, the Lord is going to come back, and He's going to take the Christians so they don't suffer, and then the world is going to be in a time of tribulation. And you can read all about this. Actually, don't, but if you already have. So what is this actually talking about? Here, there is not the same separation as there was at the ark, right? The people went into the ark, and they remained. The people who are outside were swept away, right? Well, when the end comes, there are going to be 2 people who look exactly the same. They'll both be working in the field. Or they'll both be grinding at the mill. Right? And that's the way it is in this world. Right? There are believers and there are unbelievers, and they're mixed together. Well, when the end comes, that separation is going to happen. And the ones who are going to be taken away are not the believers. It's going to be the unbelievers, right? Just as the flood swept all those people away, so too, when Jesus comes back, he's going to make this division. And who's going to remain? They're going to be believers, right? Right? We see this in Revelation chapter 20. Who inherits the earth? We do, right? Heaven, we're not going to be in heaven forever, right? Where are we going to be? On a new earth, right? The new Jerusalem is going to come out of heaven, right? And God is going to dwell with his people forever and ever, right? We're the ones who are going to remain. The unbelievers are going to go into the lake of fire, which is the second death. So this is why Jesus is he's warning us here, right? Watch. You don't know when this is coming, right? So be prepared, right? Don't lollygag, right? I heard it said once that one of the worst lies that the devil has ever taught us is that I've still got time, right? I've still got time. Maybe. Maybe not, right? 43. But know this, that if the goodman of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. So here we get this really jarring change, right? Because usually we think of God as a good God, right? Like, oh, he's good, right? Well, who is God being compared to here? A thief who is breaking in, right? And so this is like, this illustration should really jar us and really wake us up and be like, oh, yeah, right? That this is serious, right? You wouldn't want somebody to break into your house, right?
No.
I hope not, right? And if you knew that he was coming, you'd sit outside with the shotgun, right? Well,
that's why people break into your house when you're not home or when you're asleep.
right.
Because if you were sitting on your front porch, you wouldn't let them in.
Exactly, right? And it's the same way here. Jesus is using a very powerful example to be like, okay, you wouldn't let anybody break into your house. How much more should you be ready for the end? Right? The ultimate house crashing party. I mean, in a very real sense. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. Right? So we're not going to expect him. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household to give them meat in due season? Right? So now Jesus is talking about us. Who is the faithful and the wise servant? Right? The servant has been given a job. He's been given a job to feed the household. Right? This could be about pastors who feed the flock. This could be parents, right? This can just be ordinary Christians, right? Apply it to your station in life. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing, right? That we should work while it is daytime, right? Verily I say unto you, then he shall make him ruler over all his goods, right? He who is faithful in a little will be faithful in a lot. But and if that evil servant shall say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Right? So, there are a lot of people who say, oh yeah, I believe in God, right? But then live like he doesn't exist, right? We call that practical atheism, okay? There's theoretical atheism, which, says, oh, well, there's no God. Practical atheism, you can say there's a God, but then live like he doesn't exist. And that's what's going on here in 48. These are people who claim to be Christians and yet live in ways that their master forbids them to live, right? Like smiting his fellow servants, right? Well, we see that a lot, right? What does Jesus want from us? What does he want us to do to our fellow believers?
Love and serve them.
Love, serve them, forgive them, right? You don't beat them up, right? You don't hold grudges. To eat and drink with the drunken, right? To give yourself over to all these base passions, right? And then the Lord comes back, and guess what? It's time. Actually, the worst example of this is found in your favorite country hymn. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to go now, right? So what does he do? I'm going to throw an extra 20 in the plate for everything I did last night, right? Here's another 20 for all the stuff I'm going to do today, right? Well, is that faith? That's not faith. That's this evil and wicked servant, right? Who thinks that they can buy off God. As if, oh yeah, God, here, do you need another 20? Yeah. I mean, but that's how people, that's how they think about it, right?
It's kind of like my Catholic friends that I had in college who would do all kinds of crazy things. And I said, you claim to be a Christian, you claim to be Catholic. How can you do this? Oh, I'll just go to confession, say a few Hail Marys, it'll be fine. And I was like, no, that's not what confession is all about.
Right.
You do not understand confession.
And that's the thing. God doesn't need our money, right? Everything is already his, right? What God wants is you, right? He wants you. And what is the money that you give in the plate? What does that go towards? Well, it goes so that you and other people can hear the gospel, right? That's actually what the offering is for, right? God doesn't need your money. It all belongs to him anyway, right? Everybody's just holding everything in loan to him, right? He's entrusted it to us, but someday we're going to have to give it up, right? And so that's the thing, is that God actually wants you. He doesn't want slaves, he wants sons. Right? He wants faithful sons. So, all right. So, chapter 25. Now we hear this text at the end of the church year, right? It's a very apropos one, because it actually deals with the end, about the wise and the foolish virgins. And since we've run out of time, I'll just have to leave you hanging in suspense. So.